Hey guys, I'm Luke Moyle, and today I'll be taking you through my Studio 3 project and trying to sort of make a little bit of a tutorial out of it and how I made my statue and how I got it ready for 3D printing when I 3D printed it and then I painted it. But yeah, so today I'll be starting off with the 3D modeling aspects. That's where my strong suit was or is. I haven't done any sculpting before, pretty much. So this is it was a whole new experience for me. Though I did cheat a little bit at the start because I did start with a human male type body mesh, base mesh, because I made one previously and it looks pretty good. So I didn't really want to sort of waste my time making another one, and I think that's sort of how it works in the in the industry as well. I don't think every time they want to make a character, they're like, alright, start from a cube, make his body. I think they probably just have a base mesh of sorts that they edit and model to their standards. So that's sort of how I started. So this is going to look a little bit quick because it is about 20 plus hours of footage, sped up down to 5 minutes for this first part, because I don't really want to upload a multi-day video. But yeah, I'll jump right into it. So like I said, for me, I very much had my roots in hard surface modeling, so I wanted to jump into the circular shape of the pauldron. I began by just starting with a circle and just cutting the bottom half off and then cutting it in half once again. And then I did just basic extrusion, so I just selected edges or faces and I extruded inwards to make indents or outwards to make, not the opposite of indents, whatever it is. And yeah, I was a little bit too focused on the geometry on the inside of the model, because I found later on that obviously you're not going to see any of the geometry on the inside, so you can sort of I just made it a little bit messy. It's not like it's going to be used for an actual animation or anything like that, so I figured that anything that the people don't see once the final product is done is sort of fair game. So you'll see that later on, but I essentially just grabbed faces, extruded them to make these little spiky pieces along the edges of the pauldron. I sort of just really stuck to my roots for these bits. So I just when you see the model going smooth, I am using Autodesk Maya 2022 for this. I'm not crash hot at Blender, so I'm not really knowledgeable on what the similar tools are for that. Sorry. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I did for the pauldrons, at least, is I just extruded and smoothed and moved stuff around and until I sort of got the shape that I wanted. When I keep saying extruding and stuff, I'm really bad at hotkeys in Maya, so I probably could save a heap of time. So if you make sure you are in the modeling tab up here and then under poly modeling, so I'll just use a square for this instructional part. So you can, just in case you are using Maya, you can press W to change the widget thing to like the move tool. You can press E to change it to rotation, and R changes it to the various scales, and you just grab these and it will scale in whatever axes that you are selecting. F is to focus, so that will just make whatever you're looking at, the focus on the screen. So as I was saying, the way I use things is because I'm lazy and I don't remember all the hotkeys, is that if I wanted to extrude, I would select a face and then I click on this button and that lets me extrude a face. If I want to really quick and dirty, I don't recommend this for good geometry, but if I really quick and dirty want to merge things together, I just click merge to center and that will merge all those points on that face together. So if I click vertex, or the 4 points are the ones around the outside, these are vertexes, and then you hit merge and merges them together. Another one that I tend to use a lot when the face has 4 vertices that I'm connecting to, because I like to try and keep my mesh a little bit clean. The outer mesh. So if I had a hole here, you can select 2 edges and you can hit this one here, and this will just bridge it across. You can do it for multiple faces, but it doesn't really. It doesn't add like the lines between certain bits, so you'll get a bit of a stuffed up mesh like this. That can be fixed by, if you use this tool, you can click on the 2 points and then you hit enter, and yeah, that edge is back. Useless information that isn't used for this, but yeah, these are the tools that I sort of focus on using. Additionally, you can the soft. So as I was saying, you can press 3 to soften an object, or press 1 to undo that. And like I said, pressing that 3 is not permanent. If you wanted to do that, you can go to mesh and smooth, or you can go into your modeling toolkit on the right here and also hit smooth. But see, now this is permanent, and when you do smooth an object, it usually smooths it by sort of 2 tiers. So you press it once, and it, as you saw, this is a permanent smooth now that I press this button. But if I press it again, I will get, this is what I was seeing when I was smoothing. So if I use Control Z to go back to what it looked like before, so this is unsmooth. Now if I press 3, you'll see that this looked exactly the same as when I smoothed it twice. Yeah. Anyway, back to my actual model. After I made up with all the extruding and smoothing and playing around, I eventually got the shape that I was looking for. When I got to, I was wondering how I would make the breastplate, because I didn't know if I was going to try and keep everything one model at the start, or if I was going to just make pieces and then merge them together, and I eventually decided to just merge things together. So as you can see, I have selected the base mesh and I duplicated it, and after I duplicated it, I selected all the areas that I didn't want, so I just kept the chest, which would eventually become the breastplate, and then cut it all in half, because you can just eventually duplicate things and merge them. So pretend this is my my half of a breastplate. I can grab this, and you can you go to mirror, and yeah, as you can see, it is mirrored now perfectly. Copy of this side. Sorry, I'll do something a bit funky to show that it actually worked. I know we'll extrude this out. Move it out. There we go. Got a funnel of some sorts. Select the whole thing, and there we go. As we can see, it's all connected on the middle again. Awesome. And yeah, that's how you duplicate and merge things. So once I managed to get that breastplate shape, I did the exact same thing. I just selected faces, I extruded them outwards, and and eventually, once I got the sort of basic shape that I wanted, which was sort of like 2-tier breastplate, there was like an underpiece and then a bit that bulged out at the chest, like the upper chest. Yeah, and then I sort of cheated when I wanted to put it inside the body. I just used that merge, that merge to center button to close off the armholes and the neck hole, and then just put it in place, and then had the mesh beneath it. It just goes through the chest piece, so you don't even notice in the final model, but it's not really actually connected to the guy. And then once when you smooth an object in Maya, it'll just smooth it. So if we go back to my base mesh here that we created earlier, if I smooth this now, you'll see that it's become this weird bone shape, right? But we really like these big funnely pieces. So if you come up here to the multi-cut tool, and you move down to an edge that you like, right? Usually you would cut it and it would just make a cut like this, but like between 2 points, it would just make a cut. But if you come in and you actually hold your left control button, it will make an entire loop of cuts. So when you do an entire loop, as you can see, if I put that right up against the edge here, and we go up here and we put it right up against the edge, not there, put it right up against the edge once again, you'll see now that once I smooth this, the smoothing on this side will keep its harsh edges and this side will not. See how it is now? This looks more like a science beaker or something, and this is still a bone. Yeah, we can, if we wanted to keep like the sharp edges coming out this way, you can just do the same thing. Just add these lines on, but this is now, obviously, since I'm putting it along the lengthways, it is now connecting over here, so you'll see that the other side now keeps its sharp edges as well. But there we go. So if we were to smooth this, our 2 points, our 2 divisions again, as you can see, yeah, it's nice and smooth, but it's kept like the harsh edges. So that's what I did along the chest piece on, like, around the pointy bits down here. As you can see, I'm putting that extra line in to try and keep the sharpness. And then I moved on to the gauntlet after the chest piece, and I honestly did the exact same thing as the chest. I just duplicated the base mesh, and then I cut the sort of wrist to the just below the elbow out, and then I extruded the 2 end pieces to make these sort of 2 lips where, you know, the top and the bottom of the bracer are. And then I just went in and added more detail stuff. But yeah, as you can see, it just, in addition, when I have lots of faces and vertices and stuff that I want to move, but I don't want it to move like really sharply, I want it to sort of keep its relative shape. If you select a face, right, and you press B, you'll start to get this gradient between yellow and black. Sorry, I need to make this a bit more dense. There we go. So let's just select all these faces again. So that's just a group select. I've held right click and I've moved down to face and I've just group selected it. So got that. We have this nice gradient. If you hold B and you click and drag, you can chain, this circle will pop up, and, you know, depending on whether you move your mouse sort of left or right, it will change the strength. But we'll just select about half, just over half is like this. We'll press W to open our little widget thing. And then, you know, you grab this and you can see that it now sort of, it moves it with the strength of that gradient, which is really helpful when you have a lot of vertices on something that you want to move, which is sort of what I do here on this, to sort of try and get the shape of the gauntlet that I'm looking for, or the bracer. And I follow the exact same principles with creating the leg guards, sort of the thigh guards and the knee guards. I just cut off that piece, extrude and move around the pieces that I want to get the look that I want, and then close off the back all dirty like and just shove it straight onto the model to hide that piece. And so all I did was I got a cylinder and elongated it to being, you know, like the length of like a big scroll, sort of thinking sort of like Naruto. You know how they in Naruto they have the big ninja scrolls that they you see the character Sai like drawing in or whatever. That's sort of what I was thinking of, because this character is sorry, I never even went into the details of the character. He's the Doomsayer, so he gets visions and things like that of undesirable futures, and he usually ends up getting caught in the middle of those. So I have this giant scroll that is sort of his, it's what he uses to write down his visions and his prophecies, and he preaches them to the people in town whether they listen or not, and people see him as a villain, or maybe, you know, maybe are his prophecies like, is he seeing the future, or is he sort of, you know, manifesting the future? You know, what kind of, we don't know what kind of powers it truly is, but regardless, I made this long cylinder, and then I just selected a single line of faces down the bottom, and I think I did the same thing to get the sort of shape that I wanted. I have a reference image that I'd drawn previously, so I did have stuff that I was working off of, and it does, yeah, I just grabbed the bottom, extruded it out, and sort of made that long cloak looking shape. And just added little details here, like I extruded a set of, so similar, just like this, I wanted to make like a belt loop, right? So if you select a face, we'll turn off that soft selection. So B, again, soft selection is B, so you press B to turn it on and turn it off. I want to select this whole line of faces, right? Because I want to make like a belt wrapped tight around it. So I select one face, I hold left shift, and then I double click the square directly beneath it, and it has now selected that entire row, as you can see. And then from here, I just hit the extrude button. Once again, I extrude just a tiny bit. We extrude all the way like this. As you can see, it's going to bow out a little bit, so then you just click on this one. We can make it a bit smaller because it's not really, it's nice and tight. There we go. So that's sort of wrapped around it, and then I would come back in, put in those extra lines to make sure it's nice and sharp. So now if we go, we've got to do it on this side too, dummy. Make sure it's nice and sharp. So now we press 3 once again, and it's even smoother, but as you can see, it's this nice tight looking sort of wrapped around it bit. And then for a belt buckle, I just select these bits and I extrude inwards to get this like shape around it. And then I select these faces and I extrude again. Oh no, I've selected. Whoops. Make sure, that's something I do sometimes. I'm a bit stupid. Usually I'm a bit more careful, but I'm just trying to rush a little bit. I want these faces selected, but sometimes in Maya, when you select a face with shift click, it will select a face back here. And if it does that, you can come back here, and if you hold left control once again and then drag click, it will unselect those faces. So now, as we can see, according to my widget, I've just selected this. Once again, from here I'll hit extrude, and it will pull out this sort of, this sort of belt buckle shape. And then if you select the faces in here, you can then extrude inwards and down. So now it hasn't created a face outwards, but I've created a face sort of on the inside of it. So it shouldn't create, it's not really, everything is still 4 faces, so it's still nice and clean. And now that I've extruded it to here, I then extrude once again, and I pull it out, and yeah, I think that once I add in these nice, these nice bits of thingamabob, these nice sharpening lines, they didn't really, I forgot to put one in. Put one in here. So I think that's a pretty convincing little, belt buckle. I think it's a little bit protruded at the moment, I suppose. And then from here, wrapped around my scroll that I had on my main model, I just selected this face. I pulled it out a little bit. Oh no, I didn't pull it out a little bit. That would create some nasty things that are happening in there. Yeah, so do not pull it out. We'll just extrude. So I extrude, rotate, pull, squish, and then I grab this face, and then you can just pull it out a little bit more, extrude once again, and because I don't know, I'm very into Final Fantasy, so belt buckles are always very cool. They're a very big design in Final Fantasy. Oh, why is it not letting me? There we go. Yeah, as you can see, I've sort of made like a hanging belt buckle. We can, if you do the shift double click again, you can select this face and then this face, and then this face. Quickly select all these faces, shift double click to select that whole thing, then shift double click. We could probably shrink this up a little bit, make it a bit smaller so it's a little bit less protrudy. Yeah, sort of a belt look. Looks a bit droopy, but again, we can add that that loop. I've just realized, I'm pretty sure this you can do this sharpening another way, but I like doing it this way because usually doesn't add too many vertices, and it's sort of quick and simple. But if you want to make something sharp, you can go in and select this, and then you can go to so yeah, now that I've selected this face, and I've gone in here and I've selected the crease tool, so this one. If you come in here, you can hold the middle mouse button and you can drag, and it will change the thickness view of this line. But yeah, as I was saying, I did the same thing, just went at it till I got the shape that I needed. One thing that I forgot to record is that I did I've made like these little loops where I like the straps where the armor pieces are sort of connected. And the way I did that is I just used the donut tool, the donut shape, or the torus, sorry, if you don't want to be a fatty like me. I wrapped it sort of around the shape that I needed, so like this, and then you go into the channel box, the channel box layer editor, and you click on this inputs button, and you actually have all of the settings that make this torus this shape. So you can change things, like if you change the radius, it makes it have a larger radius. If you change the section radius, it changes how thick the tubing or the torus is. And set that back to one. And if you change the subdivision axis, that changes, sort of how many subdivisions are cut, I don't know, like sort of vertically, I suppose, into the tubes. So you can change its shape, the more you have, the smoother it is, and the less smooth it is. For subdivision height, that changes how many divisions there are around the circular parts of the tube, so sort of in this direction. And yeah, so using this to get like a flat belt shape, I changed the height to was it 5? I think it was 5. Yeah, I changed it to 5, and then what I did is I selected this inner line, and I just scaled it outwards, so you have this this nice sort of squared off circle ring, and then I just made it smaller, and that's how I sort of got it to fit around the leg. And then from there, I would just, if I really wanted it to fit perfectly, I would select the faces. I would press B for the soft selection. I'd make it, it's a little bit bigger at the moment, make it nice and small, and then you can just sort of shape it around things. So we go yeah, so it's not the cleanest, I suppose, but yeah, it worked pretty well for the roundness of the legs to get it, and like the armor pieces to get it. As you can see, it would take some time to to get it to fit around this object, but as you could see earlier, it was easier you just do the belt for this thing. But yeah, this is how I sort of made the straps that went around the legs. And from there, for the rest of the hard surface modeling, I just for the foot, I did the exact same thing as I've done earlier. I duplicated the base mesh, and then I cut off from below the knee and kept the foot and up to sort of under the knee, and I extruded and shaped and did everything that we've been talking about, the things that I'd used so far to get the shape that I needed to make his boot the way I wanted it to look. But yeah, that sort of covers my 3D modeling of the armor and the body and whatnot. Any parts that I missed, such as the waistcloth, I just used the same techniques that I had shown earlier. I just made the belt with the torus and chose the bottom facing faces and extruded them downwards. Yeah, so next up I'll be moving on to my sculpting of the face and adding a couple of, all the details or some little wrinkles and folds and stuff into the clothing, and yeah, just overall making him look a lot better and a lot less smooth and boring. Yeah, so thank you for listening, and I hope you tune into the next video, because it'll be probably just as long as this one. Alright, have a great day. Bye bye.